Arsenal's scrappy 1-0 victory over Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League on Tuesday may have provided some much-needed relief after their domestic struggles, but the performance left plenty of room for concern. Having been beaten 2-0 by Bournemouth in the Premier League over the weekend, the Gunners were looking to bounce back in European competition. Despite securing the 3 points, the manner of the win was far from convincing, as they lacked their usual attacking fluidity and had to rely on a fortunate own goal to see off a determined Shakhtar side. From the outset, it was clear that Arsenal were missing two of their most influential players, Bukayo Saka and captain Martin Odegaard, both sidelined due to injuries. Without Saka's direct running and Odegaard's creative influence in midfield, Mikel Arteta's side seemed to struggle to break down a well-organized Shakhtar defense. Nonetheless, Arsenal started the game brightly, with Gabriel Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus looking lively in attack. The Brazilian duo had a couple of early chances, but neither could find the breakthrough in the opening exchanges. Arsenal's breakthrough came in the 29th minute in fortuitous circumstances. Gabriel Martinelli, who had been the Gunners' most dangerous player, unleashed a low shot that rebounded off the post. In a stroke of luck for Arsenal, the ball struck the back of Shakhtar goalkeeper Dmytro Riznyk and rolled into the net for what would prove to be the only goal of the match. Officially recorded as an own goal, the moment highlighted Arsenal's reliance on moments of fortune rather than sustained pressure or incisive play. While the early goal should have given Arsenal the platform to push on and assert their dominance, the reality was quite different. Shakhtar, who have yet to win in the Champions League this season, showed resilience and discipline, particularly in defense. Mikola Matvienko, their captain, was immense at the back, making a vital goal-line clearance just before half-time. As Kai Havertz dived to meet a cross with a header, Matvienko reacted swiftly, hooking the ball off the line to prevent Arsenal from doubling their lead. But they lacked the clinical edge needed to put the game to bed. In the 63rd minute, VAR awarded Arsenal a penalty after a Shakhtar defender was judged to have handled the ball in the box. Leandro Trossard, who has been an effective option for Arsenal this season, stepped up to take the penalty. However, his effort was poor, and the chance went begging, much to the frustration of the home fans at the Emirates Stadium. That missed penalty seemed to shift the momentum slightly in Shakhtar's favor. Sensing that Arsenal were not at their best, the Ukrainian side began to grow into the game, pressing higher up the pitch and pushing for an equalizer. Arsenal's inability to control the tempo or impose themselves in midfield allowed Shakhtar to create a few dangerous moments, though their chances were limited. As the clock ticked down, Arsenal began to sit deeper, allowing Shakhtar to increase the pressure. The visitors came closest to leveling the score in stoppage time when substitute Pedrinho unleashed a long-range strike that seemed destined for the top corner. However, Arsenal goalkeeper David Raya produced a brilliant save, diving at full stretch to tip the ball away and preserve his side's narrow lead. Raya's save was arguably the decisive moment of the match, as it kept Arsenal's slim advantage intact. Despite securing the win, Arsenal's performance was far from their usual standard. Their attack looked disjointed, particularly without Saka and Odegaard to drive the team forward. Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli provided flashes of brilliance but lacked consistent service from midfield. Leandro Trossard, despite missing the penalty, was involved in much of Arsenal's build-up play, though his influence faded as the match progressed. Defensively, Arsenal were solid enough to keep a clean sheet, but the game was not without its worries. Ben White was forced off at halftime due to injury, adding to Arsenal's growing list of fitness concerns. Later in the second half, Riccardo Calafiori, who had started in place of the injured Alexander Zinchenko, also had to be substituted after landing awkwardly following a challenge. These injuries, combined with the absences of Saka and Odegaard, pose significant challenges for Arteta as he looks to manage his squad through a congested fixture schedule. The win lifted Arsenal provisionally into the top four of the new 36-team Champions League phase, but with tougher tests on the horizon, including an away fixture at Inter Milan, they will need to improve significantly. Arsenal's lack of cutting edge in the final third and their vulnerability to late pressure from Shakhtar will be of concern to Arteta, especially as the Gunners look to compete on multiple fronts this season. Shakhtar, meanwhile, will take some positives from their performance, particularly their ability to stay competitive against a top European side despite being without a win in this year's Champions League campaign. They will now turn their attention to their next match against Swiss champions Young Boys, hoping to secure their first victory and revive their chances of progressing in the competition. For Arsenal, the win provides a temporary boost in their European campaign but leaves many questions unanswered. With key players sidelined and further injuries mounting, Arteta faces a difficult task in keeping his side competitive both domestically and in Europe. The Gunners will need to rediscover their best form quickly if they are to maintain their momentum in the Champions League and stay in the hunt for silverware this season.